March 18th. It's also Tuesday, March 19th, if you're listening to this on any of the major DSPs. And we're here to talk sports, as we will do so every Tuesday. Love doing this for you guys. We will be having Harrison join us at some point through this podcast. But Sam is back. I'm back. We're here to do this lovely thing that we like to do here, which is pod about sports. And there's a lot that we absolutely missed while we were gone. Well, we didn't miss it necessarily. We just weren't able to talk to you guys about it and share our thoughts and opinions, but we will do so today a lot. It's March Madness. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen it on our Instagram page, please go check it out. We have a link for the bracket. We want anyone to join. It is open. If you click that link, please go and do that. It's through CBS. We absolutely would love to get the competition and just have bragging rights to have you all on there. So absolutely go click that. I guarantee if Amy, Harrison's wife, decides to come on this, she will win. So it won't even matter because she always wins when she does this. So you guys will just be asked out anyway. So this is episode 127 of the Chasing Points podcast. Sam, how the hell are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I am alive.
Well, hey,
I'm alive.
I was talking to someone at work today, and it was like, the pleasantries. Hey, how are you doing? What's new? How was your weekend? He goes, today's new. It's a new day. And I'm like, okay. I've never heard that before. That's awesome. Like, okay, that's a way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm doing better than you because you're here. So
I'm here. Just here to do what we do best, and yeah, I'm just glad that we get to do this. So March Madness is here. It is upon us. And we absolutely are going to dive into brackets for sure. So, Sam, have you first and foremost checked out any of the conference championships games up to this point?
Honestly, I kept tabs on a lot of things. I saw headlines and stuff. I didn't get to, unfortunately, watch a lot of basketball this week, but I've kind of know what's going on a little bit. So I did my best with the bracket, the bracket, as I always do. But yeah, what about you? I'm sure you're much more tuned in as you usually are.
I have I will say this while I'm doing this. Can you just there he goes. Perfect. I was going to ask you to send the information to Harrison. But yes, I've been watching a ton of the games. Let's start with the first one that was hit closer to home, and it hit Harrison more than me because of his investment there. Was watching Marist not complete the mission, which was truly, truly sad. Whoever was on the cameras for that game, they did not need to zoom in on Max's face like that. Max is their star player, star center, and they zoomed right in on him in a emotional moment, and I want to smack whoever the camera person was for that. So there's that. But yeah, I watched that in a wine bar here in Poughkeepsie, but I forced them to change the channel, Harrison. You'd be proud. But started off with that. St. Peter's ended up winning the tournament and has got a seed in there. Watching UNC choke against NC State, great times. Watching the UConn game start off, they didn't score. They didn't score for like the first 4 to 5 minutes. It was literally 2-0 starting that off. So that was very, very interesting watching that. But then UConn did what UConn does, and they absolutely dominate. Then you also seeing Houston choke. I think Purdue end up losing in their conference too? I'm not quite sure, but there's a lot of interesting non-wins and wins. So yeah, just getting excited for what is to come. It starts this week, right? Later on this week, or
playing games are tomorrow or Tuesday.
Okay,
and, I guess the 64 will start. It's usually lunchtime on Thursday.
Thursday.
That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Harrison, I know you've been watching. Well, I don't know if you've been watching because of your travels or whatnot, but have you been keeping up with other teams and games that have been going on?
Are we live?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We're live.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just trying to get,
We're about to not be
I'm trying to get situated, hopped right in, and Hayes is using his podcast voice. So I was just like, well, I think we're live.
Yes, yes.
No, I've been watching a ton. So obviously I was traveling with our team, but we have tons of downtime. So I actually was tuned into a lot of these conference championship games. So yeah, a lot.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So since we've all, Harrison and I have been watching a lot, we're going to get Sam up to par here on what has been going on and whatnot.
I'm good.
You said, what'd you say? You don't have excuses?
I said I had excuses. I'm good.
Well, I mean, you did. You absolutely did. But I mean, we're still, like I said, we're going to get you up to par anyway.
That's what we do here.
So we have the number one seeds from the East, UConn, from the West, North Carolina, the South, Houston, and Midwest is Purdue, which immediately tells you right in there's only probably going to be one of these one seeds that's going to make it as far as we possibly want to, because that has just seemed to be the trend in the tournament. So, gents, we've seen the brackets. As I've alluded to, again, I will repeat, we have the link on our story on the Chasing Points podcast Instagram page. Go check that out. If you haven't seen the bracket, just do that, fill it out. But guys, who are your early Final Four picks? We'll just jump right into it. And Sam, we're going to throw you right to the fire. So who's your four?
It's fine. I've changed this a lot. Again, I've read a lot of discourse over the last, weekend, over the last weekend, certainly the last 12 hours or so. So I get it. But, I trying to take out my homer or my bias here, but I think Connecticut's the best team in the country.
It's not even your bias. It's truth.
Yeah. No,
so
I know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I go there. I know it's tough sledding in the East from what I kind of see and how it all mapped up. But I'm just going here. I picked UConn, Arizona, Houston, and going back and forth on Purdue. I've read a lot of things where like Purdue's like, this could be the year. And I know they're, but it's also, we saw what happened to them last year. And, I know I'm going to spoil something here. You have Tennessee there. I read a little bit about them. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Obviously there's some time to change your mind here, but maybe you guys could do that. But UConn, Arizona, Houston, and Purdue is what I got.
So I've gone back and forth. The reason why I didn't choose Purdue is because they give me Gonzaga vibes, and that's not really good vibes to have when it comes to this time of year. And yes, that is a direct shot to Gonzaga because they just have so much talent, just can't get over the hump. And I know it's not easy, but they've busted many brackets over years, so I think a lot of people will agree with me in that aspect. But UConn for sure, because they are the number one overall and they have played the best basketball from the beginning to end. They can beat you in multiple ways stylistically. They can beat you inside as their big man is absolutely dominant. They can beat you on the outside with the guards. They play defense, and they have a phenomenal coach. So they will play against the toughest. And where they are coming out of the East, they have the hardest path to the finals. So I believe if they can make it through that, they will be perfectly fine. Houston, they're on a 2-game losing streak at this point in time. So I'm a little concerned with how that's going to pan out or not pan out. What happened?
Just one game.
Oh, it was just one game. I thought it was 2 in a row. I know Tennessee.
They lost in the championship, so
correct. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I'm thinking of Tennessee, who was my other pick because they lost 2 in a row.
Yeah.
And then Arizona, who I hate saying this because I hate going against my Tar Heels, but I feel that they have a better team at this point in time, and they've been more consistent in bigger games. And I've watched UNC lose too many big games throughout the season this year for me to be put all the eggs in the basket. But I'd be pleasantly surprised if they end up doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, they are a 1 seed, so we'll see what happens. And also they have somebody from White Plains as their star point guard. So there's that. Harrison, who's your 4?
Disclaimer, I'm horrendous at this every year. So a lot of my strategy to picking brackets has to do with matchups and who teams match up with. So if someone gets knocked out, it's obviously not good for my matchups later on. But I have UConn out the East, I have Houston out the South. Yeah, they lost pretty big in the championship game, but I still believe in them. They've had a really, really, really good year. And then in the West, I have Arizona. Same kind of reason as Hayes. I think they're just a little bit better in the big games. I have them beating North Carolina to get there. And then in the Midwest, I thought it was kind of funny that Hayes was kind of poo-pooing Gonzaga, because I have Gonzaga coming out of the Midwest, just because I like their path. They have a tough path, but they're all teams that they match up well with. I have them beating McNeese, and then I have them going against Kansas, and then I have them beating Purdue, who I really just don't believe in. Obviously, last year's kind of flame out was left a sour taste in my mouth, and I just don't see Purdue getting over that hump, even though they are the one and have had a very solid year. And then I have them matching up with Texas, the 5-7, to get to the Final Four. So mine are UConn, Houston, Arizona, and Gonzaga.
Okay,
I
so
think
we're
we
all
lost Hayes. Yeah.
yeah, we're looks like we're pretty consistent there. I mean,
Yeah.
UConn, Houston, Arizona, and then we kind of differ in the Midwest there. I have Purdue again, don't know why, Tennessee, and you said Gonzaga. It's just crazy about Gonzaga, because it's like, I feel like 20 years ago it was like, oh, here's this like exciting school that always, makes a run. People don't know where Gonzaga is. You got guys like Adam Morrison and stuff, and then they get to this expectation of like, okay, now you're supposed to win some games and be pretty consistent, and it's really been hit or miss.
They've just been so solid. They're so solid for the last, like you said, 2 decades. And they broke through, but this is just, I mean, we talk about all the time, the NCAA tournament is such a crapshoot. I mean, you got 40 minutes with all very good teams, and if one thing goes wrong, a couple things go wrong, you're gone. So it's hard to knock a team. I just did it to Purdue. But it really is a crapshoot, and that's why I suck at picking these things, because you're eventually going to get some 14 that beats a 3, and then any matchup that I've had is just null and void for the next round, and then the next round. So it just kind of builds. So to pick the correct Final Four teams is always, in my mind, really tricky, and sometimes why I feel like I do worse against people that don't know as much, because it's just kind of like it's a coin flip anyway for the most part.
There's been years where I just tell my wife what the mascots are, or something like that, or she like.
Oh, my wife beats me every year.
If my wife works for a women's organization, and like if they have a chapter on campus, a sorority on campus, then she'll pick that one. And like there's years where she does better than me, and like I again usually know what the hell's going on. So it's the ultimate crapshoot.
Just a general knowledge, but it can get you into trouble sometimes too, because you definitely overthink it. So I try to just pick them off my gut, like, all right, this seems right, and then not go back and double back and be like, I've read about this one a little bit more, I'm going to change this one, and then throw everything out of whack. So bracket picking is always, it's fun, but
it seems like there's a lot more discourse in the world with everything, but with this year's tournament about just teams on the bubble didn't make it, or teams going way the other way because of legacy, or these like big schools or whatever it is. And is that just I guess I ask you because you live and breathe this, but is it more of just like the talent is so condensed, and like it's either because everyone's really good, or maybe there isn't an outlier?
It's much more so now than before, and warranted. So there's, as we saw the whole year, there's really not that dominant team. UConn has been in stretches, Houston has been in stretches, but with the nature of kind of the transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, the talent is spread out so much that there really isn't that chance for any of these teams to develop any type of like continuity year to year. So you're basically going into each year with almost a new team for the most part, most of the time. So that kind of lends itself to more upsets throughout the year, more times when a team isn't quite, at the level of dominance that we were accustomed to back when we had, the blue bloods of the NCAA. So it's so much more spread out now that it makes it picking even more impossible, because all of these teams are just at wildly different places and there's nothing really to draw on from past experience. Like usually, hey, a team has veteran guards that they can depend on, that know how to run the system, what they've been through, how to like kind of pull off past experiences. But a lot of that just isn't there anymore because of the kind of fluid nature of the sport. So college basketball just gets tougher and tougher to predict.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you have a talented freshman and he comes back for his sophomore year, you kind of question it.
Yeah, yeah,
because
100%.
for a lot of different reasons. And it's again, you have this opportunity, and the the NBA tries to prevent this, but it's a springboard. You have a nice run, get deep into March, and then hopefully you're a lottery pick, and it's kind of how it works. And yeah, the continuity has always been tough. I can't imagine in this atmosphere it's any better than it. Probably worse.
I mean, it's worse than it's ever been, and it's why the women's game has been so watched, because of that continuity, because who you're going to get, the stars that are in play, Caitlin Clark has been there for years, Angel Reese has been at LSU for years, South Carolina has been doing it for years, and those teams will be there at the end, so they draw on those storylines to kind of hype up, the games, the matchups, and there's just you have some type of like, oh, I know what this kid's going to do, or I know what this team's going to do, more so than in men's basketball, where it's like, I couldn't tell you who's on James Madison and they're a 12 seed. I watched Wisconsin. They're a 5 seed. I watched them once, maybe. So it's volatile.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Can you hear me?
Point too about the women's game.
Yes, we can.
Cool. Okay. So just wanted to make sure with this nonsense that is. I have a question to go back.
Do you want my picks real quick just to get you up to speed?
I do need to hear your picks, but I heard everything else outside of that.
UConn, Houston, Gonzaga, Arizona.
You're trolling with the Gonzaga one.
I'm not.
You are absolutely trolling with the Gonzaga one.
I'm not trolling.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
They'll lose in the first round, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure they will too. So I have a question, because based off of one of the things that you said, would you say that the transfer portal has affected college basketball more than any other college sport? More so in changing the playing field, because I feel that there's been a lot of guys that could, how they sit there, redshirt certain guys, and some just get certain burn and whatnot, and then they just transfer to another school and then adds on there. Like UNC has a guard, I think he's small forward actually, he's a senior, he's 6 years in college and whatnot, and he's on UNC, right? So you're having guys like this move around that have played. He's played on 2 other colleges prior to, and now is here. So do you think that's like changed powers and kind of balance things out?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so you have to say yes, because obviously the transfer portal is running rampant in football as well, but it's not determined by 5 guys on a court. That's like the beautiful thing about basketball. It's like there's 5 guys on that court. With football, you got offensive, defensive, special teams. You got a ton of guys that are players. So yeah, it has to have impacted college basketball the most, because of just the amount of players on the court and the amount of players on a team, and then the ability for one big guy to basically swing a season, to swing a team. What's wrong, Brandon?
What's wrong, guys?
It just says trying to reconnect to make sure you have stable internet when I'm literally sitting 2 fucking feet, not even a foot from my Wi-Fi router, and this is saying this. This is absolutely. It's just spinning around. It's gone now. It just wanted to
Harrison Studio.
It just wanted to. We might as well. It just wanted to.
You guys are all invited.
Call up the guys that came on the floor and get in there and do something like that.
Speaking of which, I bumped into Woodman yesterday, and I'll tell you about that off air. So we'll get into that in a second. NFL. Let's get into this, because there's a ton that we missed. There is a name that Sam created this wonderful, beautiful list. There's a name that Sam left off of here, and I think it was on purpose. So we'll get to that in a second too. But there's a lot of moves that happened, and let's just start right off with quarterbacks, because there's a lot that happened there first. So Kurt Cobain, aka Kirk Cousin, Kurt Chains, went to Atlanta.
What?
Yes,
That's
he's
Also
got a
Kurt Cobain.
What is that nickname?
Kurt Cobain. It's a rapper.
Oh.
Whatever.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
just know that I know the nicknames for him. Anyway, he went to Atlanta. Were you all surprised by the move to go to Atlanta? Is my first question.
Well, Kirk Cousins is the finesse god of the NFL. We've been saying this for years. He gets guaranteed money every time he even like decides he wants to test free agency. And he's made more. I've seen this thing all week where he's made more money than Tom Brady and he's not even done playing.
Yeah.
But it was kind of interesting because what did he get? I don't know how much he got, but it's like, what do you do in Atlanta? I guess it's better than you have these young players in a window where they're pretty cheap. Bijan, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London, and I'm pretty excited to have them get all the ball because if Kirk Cousins can do anything, he can.
I'm excited for Kyle Pitts the most.
Yeah,
that's who I'm excited for the most.
I know you are. Me too. And here's another year in fantasy football of like, guys, this is Kyle Pitts' year.
I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it either.
Wait, so you'll do Gonzaga, but you're not going to pick him up in fantasy. This is what you'll do.
What's wrong with Gonzaga?
Everything is wrong with Gonzaga. Okay.
All right.
Now, bookmark this because
I picked Gonzaga just because that's the way the bracket broke out for me. But now I'm actually really rooting for them now. Let's go Zags.
Guess what? When they lose, I will be sure to be the first person to text you. So you know that.
Let's go Zags.
Go Zags.
Sam, I want to let you know real quick, just to when UNC sweeped Duke, I made sure I sent Harrison a lovely Mrs. Doubtfire gif right off the rip because he's a Duke fan and I'm a UNC fan. So he was not too happy about that. But we'll continue. So continue your thoughts on Kirk Cousins.
Oh, I said this earlier in the last year about Aaron Rodgers, and then I was banging the damn drum about it. So like, I'll sit here and say I'm not going to buy into Kyle Pitts, and then here I am. Come like August, it's draft time, and I'm like, guys, this is it. You could get Kyle Pitts in the 8th round. Like, we got to do it, and that'll be me. But I guess I go back and forth because the South's like pretty wide open, right? I mean, the teams we just mentioned all the weapons. They have some pieces on defense. I think we all like the new coach, Raheem Morris, and like we'll see there, but it's not, did the Bucks even have a winning record getting out of there last year? So like, Kirk Cousins can,
barely,
put up numbers. Hopefully there's not a lot of primetime games, but
I was surprised. I was surprised by it just because you hear all the chatter with like Justin Fields and Russell Wilson and different quarterbacks, and I didn't see Kirk's name come up as an Atlanta destination too often. But when it happened, I was like, you know what, that makes sense. You got a bunch of young guys. You have a veteran quarterback who is, could throw the ball around a lot. I like it for them. I think if he's healthy, obviously he's coming off an Achilles too. So but he doesn't move around too much, but he's still got to be mobile enough. But I like it for him. I think, like you said, that division is wide open. It was wide open last season. Buccaneers are doing okay, making some moves. Who else in that division? I'm blanking.
Carolina Titans. Carolina and New Orleans.
Okay, so they're they're kind of just
right there.
Yeah, it's right there for him. So to get a veteran quarterback and pair him with the weapons that are there, why not Atlanta? Why not Gonzaga?
Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Why not, guys?
Why not?
I guess what's more interesting, like, okay, Minnesota's moved off of Kirk Cousins. Now you could say maybe it just ran its course.
Mm-hmm.
They got off of Dalvin Cook.
Well, they want to get younger. I think it's very
that's fair.
clear. They just want to get younger with what's going on. It's nothing. I don't think it's anything against Kurt. Kurt's been absolutely phenomenal for them. I mean, outside of obviously the injury last year, I just think they realize that they're planning for the future. They want to keep Justin Jefferson, right? And they want to keep him happy, even though he wanted to keep Kirk Cousins. But they want to get younger and they want to build around him. So it makes sense that they're making all these moves and letting go one of their better defensive linemen or whatnot. So you can clearly see what they're doing. But I don't know if that now closes the window for the Minnesota Vikings because we know that they're going to the draft now.
Where do
Yeah,
they
no
pick?
one makes receivers more happy than Sam Darnold. So have fun with that, JJ.
Yeah.
I'm looking at right now. The Vikings have the 11th pick in the
Okay.
draft, right after the Jets, right before Denver.
Well, there's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft, so it's possible that they can get their quarterback in the future. I'm not quite sure if that actually is going to happen or not, but we'll see what happens. Let's go to the next one.
Yay.
I called this. I actually called two. So I'm gonna pat myself on the lovely old back here.
You
Russell
did call this
Wilson.
one.
I called it with you. You were on the pod with me, and I said,
give it to you.
and you did say it would be good. And guess what? We spoke it into existence, Harrison. I believe that we
Mhm.
did this. Steelers signs Russell Wilson for the league minimum, and he will be the starting quarterback. And as soon as this happened, Kenny Pickett decided to walk to Mike Tomlin's office, knock on that door, and say, "Bro, get me out of here. I'm gone."
Mm.
And he got traded to my Eagles
He did.
they just did pick swaps, which I really don't like, but we have a backup quarterback for the next 2 years that was a starter. So you got that. And then something else that I thought might possibly happen, Justin Fields gets traded to the Bears, which I probably have to say is
Steelers to the Steelers.
Steelers, excuse me. Yes. I would say like it's one of the biggest shocks of the offseason so far. They've already come out and said that Justin Fields will be sitting behind Russell, but that's to be determined. We know that Russell's situation when he came into Seattle, he was behind a particular quarterback, and they said he was starting, and Russell took his job. So the irony of how that would work out, but I don't believe that's going to happen. I believe Justin Fields is going to be in a perfect position now to sit and learn from a veteran quarterback while having a great coaching staff and a great coach that's going to support him and put pieces around him, because the Steelers draft very, very well with wide receivers. They've consistently done that since I've known them, since I paid attention to the Steelers. So said a lot there. Gentlemen, what is your thoughts on these three quarterbacks moving to their new homes?
Sam back, yeah. No,
Thank
just
you.
me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, no, like we spoke about last time, when you mentioned the Steelers, I was like, I like that. I like that for Russell Wilson. It's a great spot for him with a great support system around him and a good team. To get him for league minimum is huge. I mean, obviously, they're not going to have to use a lot of money in that quarterback room. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in this next chapter of his career. And then, like you said, the Justin Fields move was shocking. Obviously they get they get a quarterback, they get Russell Wilson, immediately move off Kenny Pickett, and you think maybe they'll just go, another route and get, a serviceable kind of quarterback to back up Russell Wilson. But instead they got who in my opinion, I think can still be a superstar. Like Justin Fields, did a lot with a very little with the Bears. So for him to get that opportunity to kind of sit back, learn, he's still very young, 25, 24 maybe, to sit back and learn from a veteran QB and Russ, learn the Steelers system, get acclimated with Mike Tomlin. They're set for, I think, the next couple years of the quarterback position.
I feel the same way. And I've said to our buddy Brendan, and I said to him, I said, this was absolutely a steal for them, because with what Tomlin does he still had winning seasons with quarterbacks that none of us would ever even think for him to have winning seasons. Like, this man has not had a winning season since he's been the head coach of the Steelers. So to be able to have the talent of Russell Wilson, who he admired his game. Now he gets the young bull in Justin Fields, who he absolutely admires as well too. And he's a guy that loves the coach. So you're putting this young man in a position where your coach wants you to excel. He's going to push you. He's going to make sure you do what you got to do, but he wants to make sure that he's going to make sure that you have a chance to succeed, because if you succeed, he succeeds. So I think in all of this, obviously with Fields going to the Bears, going to the Steelers. I'm sorry. I feel that there's got to be a part of him that is watching all the moves that the Bears have made during this offseason and saying, so y'all couldn't have done that shit for me. Y'all couldn't have gone out and get Keenan Allen for me. You couldn't gone out and got DeAndre Swift for me. This is not what you wanted to do for me. You just wanted to go all in for Caleb Williams. Got it. So I hope somehow, some way, I haven't checked the Steelers' schedule this year, but I hope somehow, some way they play the Bears and Russ just needs to sit out because he's just feeling sick with the flu. I'm not wishing any injury on him. And then he has.
You want to see
play.
Justin bring it back to the bring it up.
I want to see him stop a mud hole in them. So
they do not play each other. Hey, so.
Okay, so that's fine.
When you don't want to do a what if thing here, but they had the number 1 pick last year, and they got an absolute haul for it, and it was the right move. Maybe not if you would have, you could say CJ Stroud, but it's kind of one more year. Unfortunately, this is just the currency and the climate for a quarterback in the NFL. You have cheaper contracts now. You're not making the Sam Bradford type rookie deals, Jamarcus Russell, where it completely crushes a franchise if it doesn't work. So, and I know it's something you talk about a lot, and we both don't like it, but it's kind of all right, well, this was your time, and it didn't work, and now we're going to move on. I just think they could have waited. I heard rumors that I dropped for a second, so I don't know if you cover this, but he declined going to a couple other teams.
No, we didn't talk about that, but yes.
Yeah, so that's just weird to get a 6th round pick that could turn to a 4. My understanding is if he gets over 50% of the snaps. Okay, so if Russ gets hurt, that's a better deal. But just seeing what Sam Howell got traded for, seeing what just mentioned Kenny Pickett again, you can make a question. You could say that Justin's a better quarterback than both of those guys.
But I also still feel that the Bears screwed up in this aspect. Is last year teams were dying to get Justin Fields, and his stock was way higher than it is now, and they could have got way more. And that I feel they just dropped the ball in it. If this is your plan, you knew you were going to have the 1 pick. Just at that point in time, just throw the season away. You're going to do this anyway, and they would have got more for Justin Fields in this. So I just feel like they dropped the ball there. But
you could have waited till August.
They could have, but I
waited till August. Someone gets hurt.
I don't think that. I don't think that would work. I don't think that would work in the sense of that, because I know that would raise the value of him again. But I just think that wouldn't be right to Justin, and I think that's what they felt too. I think this move was we respect you enough for the time that you've been here, so we're going to move you and give you an opportunity. And just sitting there and having both of those quarterbacks there, I don't think that would have been good. For either.
I would have taken it up to at least the draft and give yourself leverage. I'm hoping a lot of this stuff coming out of Caleb Williams' camp with his dad and wanting stake in the team and doing all these rumors, all these things you hear. And it could just be BS floated out there to depreciate the stock here. But I would at least wanted that leverage going into draft day. We're good. We have Justin Fields. We could trade up with New England. We could trade up with Washington. We could draft Marvin Harrison. We're fine. Now you have Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. You're good. But you know what I mean? I probably would have just sweated this thing out a little more. I get the aspect of doing good by Justin. He's been a good soldier for this team, and Matt Nagy, and going from that situation, Eberflus now, and just the inconsistent play of the team. So I understand it. I just would have held on a little more.
I don't know. I can see it both ways. I think all the noise is just nonsense. I think they think Caleb Williams is their guy, and they're moving in that direction. I think as much as maybe you hold on to Fields for leverage, but this is also kind of saying to Caleb Williams, you're our guy. We're putting pieces around you. We're ready to roll with you. And that's kind of getting off on the right foot with what they hope will be their true franchise quarterback. Obviously they saw something in Fields. Fields he's a good quarterback, in my eyes, but maybe he just wasn't the one, or what they saw to be the one. So, why not just move on? Same thing Bucks did with Doc Rivers. This is our guy. We're going forward with this. So that's kind of how I see it.
It always depends on systems. I've talked about it on this before. It's systems coaches, right? It's sometimes just the way that it aligns, it doesn't work. I mean, prime example is what Geno Smith did in New York and then went to Seattle. And now he's a starting quarterback all these years later, been to Pro Bowls and whatnot. So it really depends on these. You also have to keep in mind, these are young men that are coming out of college where they're the absolute God they're walking around. And now they're going against grown ass men that don't give a damn where you came from, and I'm going to hit
Everybody's
you. Everybody's
faster. Everybody's stronger.
So it doesn't matter. It changes. But so we've talked enough about that one. Let's go through. I'm going to name a lot of the trades that are notable, or signings and trades that were notable to us. And I just want to hear if you guys, any of them stick out to you when I'm done reading them. Tell me which ones do. So we got Saquon to the Eagles, which was huge. Also Josh Jacobs to the Green Bay Packers. You got Derrick Henry to the Ravens, Tony Pollard to the Titans, Austin Eckler to the Commanders, Gus Edwards to the Chargers, Devin Singletary to the Giants, Calvin Ridley to the Titans, Keenan Allen, as we mentioned, to the Bears, Deontay Johnson traded to Carolina, Jerry Jeudy traded to the Browns, Hollywood Brown signed with the Chiefs, and then we also have other positions in Brian Burns traded to the Panthers. Traded from the Panthers to the Giants. I think you had that.
Not bad.
There. Christian Wilkins, to the Raiders. Danielle Hunter to the Texans. Tyron Smith to the Jets. Patrick Queen to the Steelers. Xavier McKinney to the Packers. Bryce Huff to the Eagles.
Is that the one I forgot to mention?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was just a mental block.
Absolutely.
I was like, was it Hollywood Brown? Because I forgot to add that too. Anyway,
forgot that
first
one?
off,
That's my favorite one.
Before, when Saquon signed with the Eagles, and we unfortunately we couldn't all get together to do a podcast on probably the most the beginning of the league, the biggest day, a day we all love to do it. Yep. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but we all had the same thought, and you texted it to me before or all of us. And it was like, Brandon is going to be insufferable today, because and rightfully so. And you, to your credit, you said it, Brandon. But I also had two friends text me and say the same thing, and they don't even know you. And it was more of like it was kind of like, yeah, man, this is his favorite football player, one of them, from his favorite college team to his favorite NFL team. I'd be insufferable too. Yeah, but it was just 100%. It was a funny moment. But yeah, you think they still tush push if you got that's the thigh guy behind them there? Yeah, no.
It's
Wildcat tush push.
Well, they don't tush push because they're starting quarterbacks Kenny Pickett now.
Okay, so Harrison's just being a troll. So let's just stop with that. Kenny Pickett's never seen the field. So let's just stop with that. I don't know how the tush push is going to be this year. Obviously, Kelsey retired in the offseason. And he was the main catalyst of the actual tush push, the way how low he got. So I don't know if how Cam Jernigan is going to do with it. We'll see. I don't know how it's going to look. So I don't really think they need to do it necessarily, unless they won't have to do it as much now that they're going to have a 3-down back that's Legatron over there and Saquon Barkley, so they don't have to worry about that. I don't know. I've seen a ton of memes, and I wish everybody would just stop sending me Saquon and Jalen looking at each other like they're at the 1 yard line. Who's going to run the ball? Like, relax. Either of them can run the ball. It doesn't matter. I don't care as long as they score.
This is the ultimate test for Saquon now. Now for years, and he can't stay healthy. Okay, he's been healthy. The offensive line is absolutely garbage in New York, and it has been. They've tried I feel like our whole lives they've tried to, or at least since their Super Bowl run, they've tried to fix this line. Okay, the line is one of the better, even without Kelsey. I think the line is one of the better lines in football. And quarterback. Okay, now you're going from the inconsistency, Daniel Jones, whoever else, to one of the top quarterbacks in football. So like here it is, and play calling and everything else. Like this is the ultimate. Like, how could you not love this move? I think you could also, critics of it could say, well, I don't need to draft a running back number 2. I don't need to pay him $37 million, but you did, and you could. So like I think that's scary good. I think Derrick Henry to the Ravens is scary good.
I love that one.
I don't understand Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I love Derrick Henry to the Ravens because, again, we've been saying this for years. Lamar could sit back there and sling it. Like the fact that he's won 2 MVPs. He didn't run it. He didn't win it because he's running around like an idiot. Like he won it because he can move the ball down the field. And playoffs aside. So I love that move. Josh Jacobs to Green Bay, I don't quite understand. I don't know how much younger he is than Aaron Jones.
Going on in Green Bay, to be honest, I really don't know.
I love Aaron Jones. I can understand like if you want to move on from Aaron Jones. I don't remember what he got paid, but
I think Josh Jacobs is a considerable upgrade.
I think so too. Honestly, I think he's a better. But the thing is, they're both backs that are both injured often. So that's the only issue there. But he's Josh Jacobs is younger than Jones.
I think he's got to be.
Yeah,
he's got that too. Yeah,
Josh Jacobs is he's obviously I think he's underrated. He's a really, really good back. And I really like that move to kind of solidify the backfield next to Jordan Love, who obviously came out and played super well against the Cowboys in all of last year. So I think they got their quarterback. You can solidify the backfield a little bit. I like that one.
Yeah, the receivers have got Jordan Love looked great last year.
Yeah,
especially near the end of the year. And
I think a lot of these
those
deals
receivers look great.
A lot of these deals made a lot of sense because you got guys that are somewhat perfect fits for all the destinations they went. I really like the Hollywood Brown one. I mean, to put some speed on the outside. I mean, why can't he mirror some of what Tyreek Hill's production was?
Correct.
So a lot of these deals made a lot of sense.
I agree with you on that and that sentiment. Like the Jerry Jeudy deal to the Browns, it gives it's literally pointing the finger right back at Deshaun Watson, saying, "Bro, okay, so now we went and got you another receiver on this offense that was already a good offense. Obviously, you couldn't stay healthy, so it's just like." Now let's see what happens, right? Again, I don't know why I just did that thumb down thing, but whatever. Is that why you were laughing, Harrison? Because you saw that? I thought so.
Yeah. Bad point. Maybe I did it because I don't like Jared Jeudy, but
like, meh. Hollywood Brown, absolutely love. I think that was like sneaky quiet with all the other moves that have been made, right? And it's like to Harrison's point, he's the guy that can take the top off, which means that Kelsey can play in that middle area where he does so well. Right, and
he doesn't need to run around. He just runs around and
Mahomes will manipulate and do what they got to do. But I think one of the best signings, honestly, is Hunter going to the Texans. They're already a phenomenal defensive team, but to have him as an edge rusher on top of what they were already doing, good Lord, like that is going to be a scary defense. It was already scary in itself. So I'm just curious to seeing how that's going to go. And then also another scary pickup was Queen going to the Steelers. Like the Steelers are a good defense already. And now you have Watt coming in and you got to get rid of the ball. And then you got Queen just sitting there like, thank you. I'll take this and I'll be gone.
Yeah, so he can play middle linebacker and they have Hyde Smith too, right? Hightower. No, one of them. He's good. He's good at football. Yeah, that pass rush is crazy, and with all the Russ Fields, Kenny Pickett stuff going on, you're absolutely right. I didn't even see that happened until I was looking up stuff yesterday. Yeah. So scary, quiet move.
I'll give love to the Giants too, real quick, because this is the only thing. Like I know people are like, why the hell did they just let their offense go? So offensively, I mean, they're still poop, but their defensive line is really, really good. I mean, they let one of the best safeties walk in Xavier McKinney. They let him walk to the Packers, which I didn't like at all. But that defensive line is really, really good. It's now they just have to build pieces around from there. So I guess we'll just see.
As a team that's got to face them twice a year, you don't mind it, to be honest.
I don't. I'm not afraid of the Giants. They beat the Eagles.
Well, I'm talking about McKinney. I'm not talking about the Giants.
Yeah. Okay, got you. I was going to just say the Giants beat the Eagles twice in the last.
No. I'm talking about.
I'm good on that. So Sam,
Wayne Johnson's happy. He doesn't have to block McKinney in the box there. But yeah, we'll clip that one for you, Hayes.
I'm sure.
Clip it.
So Sam, we have the MLB starting soon. I know we've been texting a lot about some of these prospects out here and what's going on. And one that's very, very interesting and I had questions about, and I'm glad that you put it on here. The Padres and Dodgers open their season in Seoul, Korea, right? And it starts on Wednesday and Thursday. This is an actual regular season game. That was my
These
first
games
question.
count. Yeah, these games count.
So this is Shohei Ohtani's first game with the Dodgers, and it's not even in
In
their
Korea.
stadium, and they're the home team technically, right?
I would assume they're the whole team or maybe 1-1. I have no idea how it works.
Okay.
That way, I didn't really look into it. But yes, Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese international superstar who just signed with the Dodgers, is making his Dodger debut in South Korea. Yes, absolutely.
Love that.
6 a.m. I think the games are on at 6 a.m. I'm assuming probably MLB Network. I will watch them because
I will
I'm that guy. But yeah,
More
it's
power
cool.
to you.
I didn't know. I mean, the KBO kind of like exploded, especially during the pandemic, because they didn't stop playing baseball or sports, and they were the only thing. Like I know people that were putting bets on KBO games. Degenerates.
That's degenerate. Yeah,
we
that's tough.
didn't have anything at the time.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Hey,
I didn't put a bet in, but it was
no, I know.
watching early in the morning.
I know you were watching it.
I absolutely was.
I was too. Yeah. So these games count, and then they just play 2 games, and they go home, and then everyone starts on Thursday, the 28th. So, but those games do count in the box score. So if you do draft in your fantasy baseball league, those games will count if your commissioner sets it up that way.
The game on Wednesday is an away game, and the game on Thursday is a home game. So they're splitting it that way because it says at Padres on the 20th and then the 21st versus Padres. So
I think they probably want to make the home field advantage, so at least each team gets 81 home games instead of 80 when they get back. States.
Harrison's face says everything that I'm thinking here, but whatever. They already had a game. The Dodgers had a game in Korea against Korea. The beginning was it today? Actually, it was today when we're recording on Monday, and they won 5-2. So they already played a game there. So it's kind of they're gonna have like home field advantage now because they're already there, and plus they have Shohei. So. It is what it is. But yeah, I thought this was very, very interesting for that. I get why this is happening for these big sports brands in the United States and why they're branching off and doing it in places around the world that are investing into our sports. Like next year, the Eagles play a home game in Brazil. You're taking a home game away. Baseball, I know there's a ton of home games. Football, there's not. There's a certain amount, and you're taking that away. And I understand you got London, and you're building off that. But now in Brazil, I didn't even know they cared about American football in Brazil. I know they love the other football, but not this one. But
I'm going to use one of the World Cup stadiums that are just sitting in the rainforest deteriorating. I'm asking a legit question because aren't those stadiums were used for 3 games and they haven't been used since?
I have no idea.
There. Just sitting.
Yeah. What a waste.
Who knows?
No, I didn't know about the Brazil thing until recently. I guess kudos. We look at it like, why would we want to do that? But I know people live in England or from England, and they're like, no, it's legit. Football, when NFL comes, it's really cool.
Yeah, no, I'd say that's working. Our connection to across the pond makes sense, but I've never even envisioned or thought anything about when I'm thinking American football. I'm thinking
you don't think of Central
Brazil.
America, or South America.
I'm not thinking Brazil at all. Yeah, no. Yeah. They're just get that out of here, you American filth. So I'm not even thinking that at all.
Tyler Glasnow is going to pitch for the Dodgers, who got traded there, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is the $330 million pitcher from Japan that the Dodgers signed. He's going to pitch one of those games too. Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove too. So
smart. Put all the Asian pitchers out there while you're over there. Got it. Understood. Domestic opening is March 28th.
People want to see. People want to see what they want to see.
They do. Yeah. We got the opening on the 28th. I would love to go to a game soon, so we'll figure this out somehow, some way. We have the MLB preview next week. I just learned about that from Sam, so thank you, Sam, for letting me know that.
Chasing Points field trip.
Yeah.
We gotta do some scouting.
We absolutely.
I'm gonna have to do some scouting here because we're gonna get to the point where I'm like, Yankees.
Who else is good?
Yeah, like what?
The Red
It'll
Sox
be
still good?
me just like me learning. That's it. Like,
That's
who?
Okay.
Ah.
AL Cy Young, Kurt Schilling. Yes.
I think we definitely need to go to some Renegades games because the upgrades they made to that stadium is looking.
Oh,
really,
they
really
look
nice.
great.
So,
Yeah, it looks good.
Did you see the fire pit thing?
I did. I was just about to say that, and I need
My
to
wife
buy
like
that,
reached out
especially.
to them about how to do that. She goes,
Oh, nice.
when she saw it, or maybe I sent her the same thing I sent you guys on Instagram. She goes, "This is the only acceptable way to watch a baseball game now," and she loves baseball. Like, but she's like, "This is the only way I'm doing it now." Like the kids will
It
just
makes
sit there and
sense.
make their s'mores. Do a little field trip. Harrison, bring your kids.
Absolutely.
Do a little field trip. Uncle Hayes can
I'll be
Go
here
see.
with the kids.
We'll
We'll
runs.
bring one of them. My 2-year-old might just like run into the fire. Like, he's just a menace to
She
society.
sounds like my 2-year-old. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
probably gonna work pretty well.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it either way. All right. So before we get out of here, we haven't done a Do You Care in a while.
Mm.
This is a special one.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on Netflix.
So
Do
it's
you care?
So it's free to watch.
If you have Netflix, I'm assuming so. Yeah.
So it's
Unless-
that was my
unless
question.
Netflix-
It's gonna
I
be
mean,
a free
hold
one.
on, hold
who
on,
doesn't
hold on.
have Netflix?
Hold on. I don't because I
What?
unsubscribed because I'm tired of Netflix. Whatever. We'll get to that. Do you
Okay.
think? Well, I'll get to that. Do you think that Netflix is going to? This is going to be the Netflix's way to like unravel like Netflix pay-per-view and then like find a way to like raise the price as they continue to raise the prices anyway, or do you think they're just going to keep it built in and you just have to subscribe just to see it?
No, they'll probably charge more. This is America.
Capitalism, baby. How much more can we make? No, but you look at it. I think we just saw this with Peacock and the one of the wild card games. Was
Yeah.
it a wild card game?
Yeah.
Division, whatever it was, that
Yeah.
Chiefs Dolphins game. That it's all about they gave the NFL over $100 million to get the rights to that game, just so they can get people to sign up, even with the 7-day trial or whatever it was, in hopes that they can keep them moving forward. So,
Well-
I mean, I know Netflix has done their stocks turn around, the subscribers have been up. I don't know, what the long play is there, but yeah, I think this is definitely pay-per-view sports is, especially with all the different channels and mediums we have now, that it's not going anywhere. I mean, we
Yeah.
see that people pay for ESPN Plus and then they pay for the pay-per-view on top of it. That's probably a good
All right.
You know,
You're saying
kind
a
of-
lot here, and I love it. But I need to know if you both care about this damn fight. That's all I really need to know.
These are going to be my questions for you, because I've asked my friends that are like really into fighting or UFC, boxing.
Wait, are they boxing or are they
Boxing. Yes.
boxing?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
boxing. So I think my friend Eric said it great to me. He goes, he could be 100 years old, and I would not want to take a punch from Mike Tyson. And I'm like, touche, dude, touche. But I don't know what to make of Jake Paul. Like, is he like the guy that I see on memes, like dancing to Carly Rae Jepsen songs?
Oh, so
Or is he
you've
like-
never watched a Jake Paul
I've
fight?
seen it, but like, how serious is this fight going to be? Is it just going to be like, I don't want to embarrass each other. Like, let's get the bag and go home. Like,
Are they wearing-
exhibition,
They're wearing
or are
headgear,
we
right?
really trying to like?
Are they wearing
beat the shit
headgear?
out of each other?
Absolutely not.
I think they're wearing headgear.
No, they're not.
I'm pretty sure they're wearing headgear.
No, they're not.
I'm almost 100% positive they're wearing headgear.
Jake has never worn any headgear. Period. So
It's for Mike, but Mike Tyson's age.
What? Mike Tyson's
I
not
think
the one they need to
All
worry
due
about.
respect to Mike Tyson, one of the fiercest men in all of sports history. I don't think he gives a shit about wearing headgear, man.
Does not.
Whatever
Okay,
whatever
no,
he's
no,
got,
it's-
he's got.
There was something out there that said it, but allegedly headgear rule for Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson is fake.
Hell yeah. Hell
Guess-
no. There's no way.
still not watching.
No, because Jake wants to continue to prove that he's a real boxer, even though he's fighting now an ancient Mike Tyson and all these old MMA fighters and whatnot. So he just wants to keep proving that he can box, yet he hasn't fought a real boxer yet. I'm telling you right now, Mike Tyson's gonna put the paws on him. And I'm telling you right now, Mike Tyson's gonna beat the hell out of him. To Sam's point, though, I don't know. See, the thing is,
He's not going to beat the hell out of him. Why would Jake Paul take this nonsense if he was going to get the hell beat out of him?
because he thinks he can beat everybody. That's how cocky and arrogant this person is.
If he,
but
if he thought he could beat everybody, he would actually fight somebody.
No, he's doing what he has to do first. He knows what he's doing. He's still pushing his motive forward.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Mike Tyson won't beat the hell out of him.
I don't think
that's what I mean. I don't know if they want to embarrass each other. They just want to take their my buddy Mike said that to me, and I'm like, totally makes sense. Like, take the bag and go home. Like, count your money, and no one gets embarrassed.
None of this is real.
But it's the same. So
fair. Okay, let me say this. It does, to be fair. I get both of your perspectives on this, but I'm just looking at it from the perspective that if Mike Tyson, like Floyd Mayweather did, which was so stupid in itself,
that was
against Logan Paul, if Mike Tyson draws against Jake Paul, that's more embarrassing than anything. I feel that was the same for Floyd. It was you're a professional boxer, even though you're retired, and you had a draw with this guy at the end, or you technically won.
Floyd fought Jake Paul?
Logan Paul.
The other one. I still don't know the difference.
I don't know the difference. Oh, so they're both fighters. No, I'm not even being funny. They're both fighters.
Logan, yes. Logan's in the WWE right now, though. Logan's a big WWE wrestler now.
Spare the brand. I'm all for it.
And then and Jake is just straight boxing and doing all this. So I mean, I get your guys' point. I know they're trying to sell this. This is in wrestling terms, they're trying to cut the promo and do all this stuff. But it's just like, I just pray that Mike Tyson just absolutely just hits him with a solid just gut shot and just drops him and it's over and done with. But you're probably right. It probably won't happen that way.
I promise you this will be disappointing.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
Promise it.
And I watched this fight, the Floyd Conor fight. And again, I'm coming at this where Brandon, I know how much you watch fighting and UFC and boxing, and we talk about it on this pod and off. Maybe not on this pod as much as we used to, but like, was that what in hindsight now we have the benefit of 4 years since that fight happened, whatever, maybe longer. Like, what was that? Was that an exhibition where it was like, let's just take our money, like, let's just dance around, like, okay, Conor, you respect, you can box, like, Floyd's not gonna risk his perfect record, and like, let's take the money and go home. Like, what was that? And is that what's gonna happen here? Is kind of my comparison.
So again, in this world of selling this big fight where you're doing cross combat fighting, being Conor coming from MMA, going to boxing, and Floyd fighting him, I feel like they just know it's a big moneymaker. I do believe that fight, out of all the fights that kind of have happened, and people can say I'm wrong and stupid or whatever, I feel like out of all the fights that have kind of happened that way, like that one was like an actual real fight, because they both had two huge egos that neither one of them wanted to lose. Floyd was just recently removed from boxing at that point in time. Like, yeah, he was pretty much done. But Conor was still, like, he's ascending at this point in time as one of the biggest stars. And it was like one of the biggest paydays. So they absolutely put on a show for that. But then all the fights that followed with Floyd were against like all these washed, or these, I guess, like younger guys or whatever, that he absolutely puts it
payday kind of thing.
And it's just like, it dilutes the whole thing. So I mean, to Harrison's point, to your point, Sam, I don't know what's real and what's fake.
Hey, that's why
it's really hard which ones are which, because I'm also I'm just thinking of myself as a person. I'm not going out there and standing in front of, like, we had Francis Ngannou just fight Anthony Joshua just recently or whatever, yeah. And he got absolutely dropped, where he fell, landed on his leg, rolled over, all this junk, knocked out, right? This is a guy that's knocked people out in UFC consistently, and he got dropped, right? It's just like, I don't know if I'm going to take that much money just to get punched in the face like that. But then again, it's just like, you're getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars, and it's the biggest paydays. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So
the climate, it's not 90s Bulls MJ where I'm going to stomp on your throat, like this Kobe mentality of like, I'm going to win. Like now, and again, I would say I wouldn't take a punch from 100-year-old Mike Tyson. So but like I just feel like it's the game's just drastically different, and if this doesn't really matter to anyone,
None
you
of
know,
this is real.
Mike Tyson has nothing to prove.
No, nothing.
Jake Paul may want to just continue down this path of being like legitimacy, which again I respect, but
It's
like,
not legit. It's not legit. And
I said
it's
down
I mean,
the path. But yeah.
It's no matter what, it's still not legit until he fights to Harrison's point earlier. Until he fights an actual boxer, none of this will be
hasn't
completely
fought an
valid.
actual boxer.
Yeah.
He still
Yeah,
hasn't
hasn't? Oh,
happened.
wow.
It
So
still
not-
has
Is
not
he
happened.
the guy who came out with the PSA 10 Charizard on his neck?
His brother did that.
Was that his brother?
Okay. That was his brother.
Okay.
It's actually comical how we're just continuing,
I-
and he
yeah,
still
why
has
are we
not
talking
fought.
about them?
He still has not fought an actual boxer. Like it's
Yeah.
almost hilarious. Like
Yeah.
what he'll do next. I'm
What
good.
will he
I
do
will
next?
not. I will not watch.
I will
this.
watch it.
I will not watch
I will
this.
watch it for peer. I'm watching it solely for Mike Tyson. That's what I'm watching it for. Solely for that. I just want to see how the old man
I'll watch
moves.
I'll watch the Hangover to see Mike Tyson.
I didn't get to see Mike Tyson box live because we were like 5 years old and
Yeah.
like
I missed
my
it. It's
parents won't
fine.
let me watch that. So like, yeah, this will be the same thing, right?
Well,
Like,
Sam, I'll tell you what. That's where my love started for it, is because my parents would
Keep-
get all those. So
Keep the fairy tale and your memories alive, and don't watch this. Just
I'm
you
in-
will.
nope.
It's
Just
just
watch
you
The
will be
Hangover.
disappointed. You will.
I'm gonna
be,
watch
I
it.
promise you.
I'm gonna
I
watch it.
promise you.
I'm not gonna be disappointed because I'm not investing anything into it. I'm just watching just for sheer entertainment to see what's gonna happen and how they're gonna play this up or play this down. So I'm just watching.
I'll tell you
it
what.
to come back and report to the Chasing Points audience of what happened.
This
There
is
you
the
go.
most. This is the most. Do you care? I do not care. I'll ever have on this show probably.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
that weekend's my son's birthday party weekend, so we'll do a watch party. Harrison,
7:20. We're like
19th. The 19th.
we're like
is
3 months away.
I'm just telling you. I just looked at the date. I'm like, oh, my son. I know when my son's birthday party is.
We gotta get
You
you.
already planned it, bro.
We do
gotta
It's
not
let
already
care.
done. No,
We
it's
do
not
not
done.
care.
Well, all right, guys. That was very entertaining to me.
So Harrison doesn't care. Hayes and I will watch it,
we'll
but
circle back.
I'm
and
just
see
watching
if,
it because of FOMO.
We'll see if any
Okay.
media coverage changes Harrison's mind. We'll circle back. I'm sure it won't, but it'll be entertaining to talk about it again. So we will talk about this again. So have fun with that. Yeah, on that note, we are done. We are out of here. This is episode 127 of the Chasing Points podcast, where we will watch Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. But
You don't.
we will see you guys next week. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to us on all DSPs. And anything you guys want to say before we go and close out?
I just want to say it's the day after Selection Sunday. We haven't talked about NFL free agency, and we spent the most time talking about the Paul brothers.
Disgusting behavior. Like, disgusting. I just
Well,
want to
thanks
say
for listening.
go
Fill out your
Zags.
brackets. Go Zags.
Go Zags.
I
Gonna
just
come
want
on
to
the
say
pod
that I
of the
might do a
Jalen Suggs
live
jersey next
stream.
week.
I'm gonna do a live stream as soon as the Zags lose, and I'm gonna on my live stream. I'm gonna have somebody
Stephen A. Smith style.
record
laughing into the
me
camera.
calling Harrison and watch Harrison not pick up the phone. Because
Bro, I did my picks in literally 4 minutes. like literally 4 minutes.
As I said at the top of the show, I will say it again. It doesn't
And
matter.
now I'm out here riding for Gonzaga.
Well, that's your issue. That's
It is
probably
my
your
issue.
problem.
It is my issue.
As I said at the beginning of the show, I will say this to close out. It doesn't matter if any of you join the bracket, which we encourage all of you to do. Definitely go look at that on our page. Click the link, join. It doesn't matter what any of you do, but if Harrison's wife signs up, we're all losing to her anyway. So on that note, we love y'all. We'll see y'all. Peace.